Hey, what is going on guys? It's Modded Warfare here. Welcome back to another video. So I may sound a bit weird in this video. I seem to be recovering from a bad cold or something, but I couldn't not make this video right now because we have a huge piece of news that was released by LightningMods, which is that he's got the first ever PS5 game backup to play on the PS5. So PPSA 03527, that's the title ID. It's the GTA Definitive Collection or whatever it's called, but it is the PS5 version of it that he managed to get running. He's also managed to get other games running, like game demos, like the Matrix demo and the Abandoned demo, which means those are now preserved in history. Now that we have a way to actually run PS5 game backups and we have those games backed up, then yeah, they're now preserved, which is awesome. So my plan with this video is to just try and set expectations accordingly, because I did speak to LightningMods and got some additional information about this. So firstly, it does appear to be working in the way that I originally thought it would with loading PS5 games, which wasn't really difficult to predict. But of course, we're not doing this using fake packages like we are with the PS4. So that's the first thing. It's not the same method that is used to run PS4 fake packages like Slayer's Govies method, where we basically have PS4 fake packages that we can install from a USB with the debug settings and then run them with the KStuff payload or the ETA hen payload that has the KStuff included, and then you can run your PS4 fake packages right off the home screen like any other game. That's not the case with this. This is completely different. So obviously the game here, as shown by LightningMods, is being launched through the Items Flow homebrew app, which is a PS4 homebrew app that is being modified to work on the PS5. So this is a new feature that's been added into Items Flow. The homebrew app's not released at the time of recording this video, but probably will be fairly soon. Yeah, essentially the game is launched through the Items Flow application, and the game's stored on the hard drive. So what you have to do is any game dump that you get, you'll have the raw game files, the decrypted game files, and you'll have to copy them somewhere on the hard drive, likely in the data folder, because that's generally where homebrew apps and stuff store stuff, because it's not really a directory that gets used by the system. So you kind of put everything somewhere in the data folder, put all of your game dump files there in the data folder, and then you can launch them with Items Flow. And you can see here that there's even an option to change the dump path, which will allow you to, I guess, pick different games. So that way you could have multiple game dumps stored in different folders, and then you can just change the dump path to the game that you want to launch at that time, and then you can launch it with Items Flow. So that seems to be the way that this is going to work. You're just going to have to copy your game dump files over to the hard drive with FTP, and then you can launch them with Items Flow. So that's how it's going to work. That's how it's going to be different to the way that you can run PS4 games. Also, another fun fact is that you can actually load PS4 games this way as well. So yeah, you can actually take your PS4 game dumps and do it in the same way. It should work with PS4 game dumps and PS5 game dumps. Although when you have the PS4 fake package enabler, it's probably best to use that. But you never know, it might be able to fix some of the issues that we're having with the PS4 fake package enabler. Maybe the audio issues, maybe, I mean, this is all stuff that's not been tested at the moment, but you never know. Might be able to fix some of the problems we're having with various different things. I doubt it'll fix the DLC problem, but maybe, who knows. Or maybe we'll have a DLC problem with this as well, with PS5 game dumps. This is all stuff that's still to be tested, I guess. The other thing I wanted to touch on is what about support for other firmwares like 3.0 to 4.51? Because the fake package enabler is constrained to only 4.03, 4.50, and 4.51, because those are the firmwares that we have the offsets for right now. Slayer's Govies working on the porting script, but we don't know if that porting script is going to, how long it's going to take before it's finished so that we're able to port it to other firmwares. So of course, this would be a way to bypass that if we could run it without the fake package enabler. But unfortunately, according to LightningMods, it is going to require the fake package enabler, at least initially. So the KStuff payload is actually required in order for this to work, even though it's not launched in the same way, even though it's done differently to PS4 fake packages. It does still rely on some functionality of the KStuff payload in order for it to work. Now, LightningMods has told me that there is another way to do it that he is going to try, and it should theoretically work, but he's not going to be able to get it done for the release. It will probably come later on in a future version, where it will be completely separate from the KStuff payload, and then it would work from 3.0 all the way through to 4.51, and you'd be able to load your PS5 games and your PS4 game backups using it. However, for the initial release, it is going to still require the KStuff payload, So it'll only be available initially on the firmwares that supports, which right now is 4.03, 4.50, and 4.51. But of course, it's also possible that Slayer's Govi's porting script will be finished by then anyway, and it may already support all the other firmwares by then, and we won't really need to have this separated from it. But we'll see, whichever one comes first, and then we'll be able to run it on 3.0 to 4.51. So the other thing I wanted to touch on is backports. What about backports? Is that going to be a thing for PS5 games? Well, maybe not in the way that some people think. So, of course, it's unlikely that we're going to see, brand new releases like Spider-Man 2, game dumps appearing so that we can run them on, 4.03 and these other older firmwares. That seems unlikely to me. I don't know what some people have in private. Cyber1000 has access to keys or something that he's able to use to decrypt the PS4 games. Those keys will be different for PS5 games, so will he be able to get the PS5 keys or not? Not sure. That's all speculation, so I don't want to touch on that too much. But in terms of practical backports that are possible, would be things like games that get dumped on 4.51 that are not runnable on the older firmwares, like 4.03, could be backported to run on 4.03. So for example, I have a physical copy of Horizon Forbidden West, which I cannot run on my PS5, my jailbreakable PS5, because it's a 4.03 system, and I believe Horizon Forbidden West requires 4.50. So what could happen is somebody on 4.50 could dump that game, dump their physical copy, send me the dump, and then I could, run it on my 4.03 PS5. If there's changes to the SDK version between 4.03 and 4.50, there may need to be some kind of backporting process to get the game to actually run on 4.03, but it would be possible. And the same, once we get support for 3.0, for example, that could actually be very useful because people on 3.0 really don't have many games that they can run. And if people on 4.51 can dump all of these newer games, then you'd be able to run them on 3.0 with some kind of backport. So that's a way that backports could actually be done, but it would only be from, backporting games that can be dumped on 4.51 to run on the older firmwares that are also jailbreakable. So that's pretty much where backports will be initially. But it's unlikely that there's going to be many games that we're going to be able to run with this anyway, at least not initially. And then hopefully, stability and compatibility will improve over time. So right now we have issues with certain games that cannot be dumped. So Demon Souls and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart are two games that don't seem to be able to be dumped using the current dumper payloads that are available. For whatever reason, they just do not decrypt the executables properly. So that's one of the issues, is certain games are not going to be able to be dumped, and then you're not going to have a game dump to run. And then the other problem is that there are some games that use some kind of API that is required for this. And if they use it in a certain way, then the game doesn't appear to work right now. Maybe that's something that could be fixed later on, as time goes on. But at the moment, that means that certain games, like games that run using the Unity engine, are not going to work at all right now. Whereas games that run on the Unreal Engine will work. So these are some of the issues that you'll run into. Certain games won't work because of the game engine that they're using, the way they're using this library. And of course, games that can't be dumped are not going to be able to run because we won't have a game dump to run, and various issues like that. And of course, there could also be issues with DLC like there is on PS4. There could also be, issues with the save files. If the game that you're launching is under the same title ID, then you're switching games, then it might overwrite the save files. So obviously there's these issues that could pop up. It's very early days, so it is going to be very limited initially. Eventually, compatibility will hopefully improve. Things will improve over time and we'll be able to get more game dumps running. But initially, it's going to be very limited. Only a handful of game dumps, maybe game demos and stuff are going to be runnable. And then eventually it should get better. But if you're expecting it to be to the same level as what we have with PS4 game dumps right now, it's not going to be that. So yeah, that's too high of an expectation right now. So I just wanted to go ahead and give you guys a bit of a heads up on what to expect from this when it actually launches. Again, thanks to LightningMods for providing me with some additional information there, and also the footage that you're seeing in this video of me actually running this so that I could get some better quality footage here. But yeah, so anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video or found the information useful. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll hopefully see you guys in the next one.